Have you noticed everything's on demand these days? And if you need a big TV but you don't want to clutter your space with one, or you simply don't want to ruin the look and feel of a beautifully decorated room by filling the space with loads of shiny tech products, which is something I'm very guilty of, well then what you might actually need is an on-demand big screen that vanishes into the environment when not in use. And that is exactly what this projector, the Epson EF72, is all about. It just might be one of the most discreet looking home projectors that I've seen to date. And at first glance, you could easily mistake this for a tabletop lamp, and that design is intentional. And actually, there are a few features on this projector which really surprised me when I first saw it, and I will highlight what those are as we go through this video. And just so you know, the exact model name of the one that I'm looking at in this video is the Epson Lifestyle Flex EF72. The launch day retail price on this one is £1,150 here in the UK. There will be affiliate links below this video if you want to check out the most up-to-date deals and prices. It is a 4K projector and it can deliver up to a 150-inch display. It is running on the Google TV operating system, which does mean you have access to pretty much any streaming app you can think of, and you can also operate it with your voice. And it has Wi-Fi, which means you don't need to plug anything into it other than the power cable to use it. So if you want to keep things super minimal, you can just use the Google apps for pretty much everything. Okay, now let me give you a guided tour of this very unique design. There is only one color option, and it's this one, and it's called Oak, likely due to the styling of the material across the top. The black band that wraps around just below it does a really good job of disguising the lens and the sensor technology here. And one of the sensors on the front of the projector has a safety feature, so if it's obstructed, the laser will shut down, which means it's not going to blind anyone if they walk past it or look directly into it. Anyway, next layer down is wrapped in this gray mesh, which softens the look by reducing reflections, and it also hides one of this projector's standout features. There's also a strategically placed removable panel on the back, and I'll show you why you might want to remove that in a minute. The stand is nicely designed, and it features a metal finish on the base and rubberized feet underneath to reduce vibrations. And it does have a bunch of ventilation underneath and across the back. And something I've noticed about this projector is how quiet it is when it's running. And on the base itself, you'll find the port for the power. And because it's a perfect square, it also indicates which side is the back. And then you've got this solid metal column that allows the EF72 to pivot 180 degrees on its stand. And this is particularly convenient when combined with some of the other tech that you're about to see in action. Now here's the reason why you might want to remove that back panel that I showed you a minute ago. Let's say you don't have a lot of wall space, but you do have a lot of ceiling space. You can tilt the EF72 all the way up to the ceiling, all the way up to a full 90 degrees. So of course you could make use of this to watch movies on your ceiling, but you could also use it for ambient sensory lighting. For example, you could project the Milky Way onto the ceiling. Maybe it will help you sleep. Or you could just use it to create a really nice and cozy, relaxing environment. Now here's that bit of tech that works in tandem with the swivel and tilt functionality. Those well-disguised sensors on the front can actually measure the distance from the surface to the projector and also correct for any angle that it might be shining at. So even if you're not tech savvy, you're going to find using this projector super easy, because all you need to do to use it is simply switch it on, angle it towards a wall, and then it will use this autofocus, auto keystone correction, and auto screen fit adjustments to figure out how to perfectly square up the picture for you. So you'll never have to fiddle around within the settings to find out how to do it manually. Now here's something else that I think you might really appreciate about the design on the EF72. It's actually 19 centimeters wide, 19 centimeters deep, and 25 centimeters tall. So it's pretty compact, and it weighs just 4 kilograms, which means you can move it around room to room pretty easily. You just unplug it and then grab it by a stand like an Olympic torch. And that is actually the way they tell you to move it around, minus the Olympic torch bit. Okay, so I did mention that this projector did surprise me in a few ways. Here's the first one. Epson have partnered up with one of the best in the business when it comes to home theater and home audio. The EF72 has been fitted with stereo speakers by Bose. Now they're not massive speakers, the total output is 10 watt, but I can tell you this projector has the best built-in sound that I've ever heard on a projector so far. The bass levels are good, the depth of the audio is good, the clarity is very good, particularly in the vocal range. And generally speaking, when it comes to built-in audio on a projector, it kind of feels like an afterthought on most of the projectors I've reviewed in the past. They usually sound very tinny and not very bassy, and that is the opposite of what you get here on the EF-72. So this projector does sound good standalone, but there are some other audio options which can enhance the home theater experience even more, and I'll show you those in a second. Now here is the second feature that surprised me. Normally when a projector is off, it's kind of sitting around and it's kind of useless, just collecting dust. But not this one. The EF-72 hasn't only been designed to look like a lamp, it's actually also been designed to function like a lamp too. See this top surface right here that looks like a piece of oak? That's actually a touch area for the lamp controls. So a quick tap on the top of the EF-72 activates the LED light strip that's built in underneath the projector. Single taps will activate and then toggle through the brightness levels, and a tap and hold will toggle through the different color modes. And this is functionality that I've never seen before, and it can add a nice bit of ambient lighting when you're watching movies and things like that as well at night. The Epson EF-72 does ship with a smart remote control with a microphone built in, which means you can access the Google Assistant to pretty much find whatever you're looking for with minimum effort just by saying it to the remote. It is definitely by far the quickest way to find what it is you want to watch on the projector. There's also a really cool profile button here. So for example, you could have a kid's profile set up on the projector to filter out all of the horror movies and things like that. And also they've added dedicated buttons to adjust the brightness on the fly, which is definitely very nice to see. And then you've got the usual stuff, including some quick shortcut buttons to YouTube, Netflix and Prime Video. And it's 2025, you don't really need a TV aerial anymore because you can get live TV streamed online right here, already pre-installed on the software. Okay, now let's get into some of the important need to know stuff. And let's start with the port options on the back. Now, while the Epson EF-72 can work completely standalone, there might come a time where you want to plug in a games console or a laptop or maybe a Blu-ray player. And if you do want to do that, there is one HDMI port available. Now, something that's quite interesting about this specific port is it's not just an input, it can actually output an audio signal. It is an enhanced audio return channel, which does mean you can plug in audio equipment via the HDMI cable and get true Dolby Atmos sound to that sound equipment, whether it's a soundbar or a full-on Atmos sound system. And if you use it, you will get the best uncompressed Dolby Atmos signal to your home theater equipment. So that's one way you can level up that home cinema experience. But there is another. There is an audio analog jack, which will support stereo audio. So if you have some really nice stereo speakers, you could use those hooked up to the projector for a more cinematic sound. And the third option is to use the Bluetooth connectivity to pair up a Bluetooth speaker. There's also a USB 2.0 port on the back, which means you can connect up hard disk drives or USB flash drives and stream content from those even when you don't have internet. And you can also download Epson's iProjection app, which will allow people to throw content from their phone directly to the projector. For example, holiday photos and things like that. It could be a good way to share memories or share your travel photos with your friends and family. Okay, now let's talk about the display tech. The EF-72 is powered by Epson's 3 LCD RGB LED system, backed by a triple core engine. And the upside to using this kind of light source is more accurate colors, super fast image processing, and the lifespan of the projector is much longer than the more classic bulb style projectors. The brightness is rated up to 1000 lumens, which is more than enough for a home projector. And as I mentioned before, it's capable of delivering a 4K display up to 150 inches. The contrast ratio is listed as 5 million to 1. But of course, the lighting in your environment will affect the contrast ratio, and the darker the room, the better the contrast. Now, the ideal throw distance, according to Epson, is 0.8 meters at its closest, giving you a 30-inch display, all the way up to 4 meters, which gives you that 150-inch display. So this makes the projector very versatile and fantastic for anyone, whether you're in a small space or a big space. The projector can adapt accordingly. But I guess the most important question is, what is it like to watch? Well, there is no shadow of a doubt that you would enjoy the Epson EF-72 the most in a pitch black room. And the sweet spot that I found with this projector is somewhere between the 2.5 to 3 meter range. You get around an 80-inch display, and this is where the colors look the best, the sharpness looks the best, and the picture is as bright as you want it to be. Of course, you could improve it even more if you had one of those light rejecting panels, but the idea of this, I think, is to not have things on the wall. Anyway, overall, watching movies and things like that, it looks fantastic. The contrast ratio is brilliant when dark. When it comes to the best color mode, there are 3 options by default. There's the standard, the cinema, and the vivid. The cinema mode, without a doubt, is the most accurate color profile that's on there by default. You can go into the pro settings and dial in your own colors if you know what you're doing, but just setting it to the cinema mode, you will notice the skin tones look really good and the colors look much more natural and much more accurate. Now in brighter environments, let's say you want to use a projector during the day, that 1000 lumens is enough to power through and produce a nice picture. However, during the day, colorful content like cartoons and daytime TV will look better because they're usually really well lit. If you want to watch anything dark and gloomy, well then that's what curtains are for. And just to give you an idea of how much the picture changes depending on different lighting conditions, here's how it looks in pitch black, and here's how the content looks with 100% brightness on my studio light, which kind of recreates the window light when the curtains are open. So I guess there's just one question: who is the Epson EF-72 really for? Well, in my opinion, it's perfect for anybody who doesn't want to drill holes in a wall and wall mount a TV, or for anyone who doesn't want a TV as a permanent fixture in any specific room, because those kind of problems are what the EF-72 solves. And if you have a small space and you don't want a huge TV to take up the space, well, again, that's what the Epson EF-72 is perfect for. And if one day someone asks you to go and buy a new lamp, well, you could go and buy one of these. And don't tell them how much you paid for it until you unveil its secret weapon. And when you do, they will totally understand why the price is what it is. So if you guys want to check out the latest deals and prices, there will be an affiliate link below. Let me know what you think of this projector. If you've got any questions, let me know in the comments. And if you just subscribed, you're now one of the finest subscribers known to man. I'll see you in the next one. Don't be late.